So at what point in your first year did you realize that you were going to end up staying longer?
So after 1 year, I had planned on coming back to America to visit with family and whatnot. And yeah, I'm trying to think exactly what point, but I think it was around New Year's Eve. So I arrived in Vietnam September or October 2014. And then New Year's Eve, I went up to Dalat, Vietnam. And I remember talking to somebody and I said, I think I'm going to stay here. I don't think I'm going to go back home for the long term, not another year, but like, I think I'm going to stay here forever, because it was one of those things where I couldn't believe that when I got out of college, I knew people that were going to teach abroad in Korea. And I was like, why would you do that? Are you crazy? I never even considered that, or considered, making a degree out of it as you did. And then years later, I'm like, wow, I wish I would have done this 6 years ago. This would have been such a great thing to start back then, but better now than never, or better late than never. And, yeah, I was very set on staying over there.
And so that was just as the first year was kind of coming to an end, you were like, I'm actually not going to move back.
It was the first 3 or 4 months. So yes, as that year was coming to an end, but like I'd only been there a few months, and I realized I don't want to leave. Like, I really like it here.
Yeah, and I feel like in the first few months is when a lot of people experience that kind of culture shock as well. There's kind of some novelty when you first move to a place, but after a few months, it starts to become like real life. And it feels like that could be a sink or swim kind of a moment. And for you, it was a swim. What was it about the culture that convinced you that you wanted to stay there?
I'm just one of those people, and I see it in your videos as well. I feel like you are as well. Just one of those people that can have conversations with new people on a daily basis, and I personally don't get bored with it. I mean, to make your style of videos, to make the videos that I make, I mean, it's almost a necessity. You can't be an introvert, you can't be shy to go out and meet new people, and not only meet new people, but practice a new language with them. And I noticed that, even though I didn't speak Vietnamese or have a Vietnamese name, like, everybody just wanted to have a conversation. Everybody wanted to talk. Everybody was genuinely curious why I chose their country to come and live. And with that, plus the delicious food, it just made it an even easier decision to want to stay there.
Yeah. Do you think that Vietnamese people in general are like that, where they approach strangers? Or does it have something to do with the fact that you're from a different country and so they're more curious?
I think they're easier to talk to in terms of their community. I think they feel like more of a community versus that in America. I've pointed this out on different interviews, on TV shows and whatnot, where I get this feeling where America is so separated based on cultural boundaries or religious boundaries or even skin color, where, this person's in a different community. They can converse, but they're not exactly on a community level, if you will. Whereas Vietnamese, yes, it's a homogenous society. You're either Vietnamese or you're not. But I really admired like how close the community was, where if a kid is lost and in trouble, not saying they wouldn't help him in America or her in America, but in Vietnam, it's almost like it's their duty as the community to help them. So I think not only are they closer together with other Vietnamese, but they're genuinely curious to come up to someone like me and ask why I'm there, what I'm doing, even ask how much I make a month. Whereas like in America, like I see someone from the Middle East or from Africa or South America and go, oh, welcome to my country. What are you doing in my country? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just don't do that here as much, or in that sense, if you will.
Yeah, I guess one of the differences as well is that here in North America, we have very diverse environments. And so if you were curious about where every single person was from, you'd be having a lot of conversations every day, right? I can go on the bus here in Vancouver and there could probably be, 10 different nationalities. And I love that. And I do enjoy talking to those people, and, learning like, hey, where are you from? What languages do you speak? What food do you eat? I love those conversations. That was kind of the precursor in some ways to this podcast, was me just talking to people that, that I would meet, friends of friends, or, people that, working at restaurants or whoever, might be. But yeah, you're right. Most people don't do that. Like, we're not stopping people in the street and being like, oh my gosh, you're not from here. That's crazy.